Perhaps one of the greatest examples of the meaning of blessed are the merciful is the story of the Good Samaritan. It happened on the desolate road from Jerusalem to Jericho. One day, a man traveling that road was beaten up, robbed, thrown aside, and left to die. Two respected religious officials came along, but they didn't want to get involved, so they just continued and walked on past. Then a Samaritan businessman came along. The Samaritans were a despised half-breed that were looked down upon by Jesus' fellow Jews. The Samaritan stopped. He gave the man first aid. He put him on his donkey and brought him to a nearby inn. There, he arranged for room, medical attention, meals, and even paid the cost. He also promised to cover any additional cost until the man got well. This story of mercy has become a lasting standard of decency and compassion, and many states in America actually have what are called Good Samaritan laws that have to do with showing mercy to people in danger or distress. Now, here's what's interesting. The story doesn't tell us if the man deserved mercy and kindness, or if he ever showed appreciation, or if he made any attempt to even pay back part of the cost. The whole story is about the mercy of one person compared to the cold hearts of others who just could not be bothered to help. This simple little beatitude, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy, is both a promise and it's an implied threat. The promise, of course, is that those who are merciful will obtain mercy. But the implication is that those who are not merciful will not. It's really a profound call for self-examination. It prompts us to ask how merciful we truly are and how aware and grateful we are for the mercy that we have received. And we have all received far more mercy than we ever begin to realize. Those who cannot or will not see the mercy that they have received most likely are not going to be all that quick to extend any mercy to others. So, who are the merciful? Well, among other things, we can say the merciful are those who truly care. And does caring really make any difference? Well, let me ask you this. Do you care if your doctor cares? How much does the degree that you think your doctor cares build your own hope and your confidence? And does this have anything to do with your healing possibilities? Yes, of course it does. Francis W. Peabody was a renowned doctor. His biographer titled him the caring physician. He died of cancer at age 45. In October of 1925, he spoke to students at Harvard Medical School, and he concluded with this timeless truth, that the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient. So why do we want a doctor who is more than a mechanic, one who genuinely cares? Well, when there is caring, there's a different kind of personal presence, a more attentive tuning into you, and you can feel it. When there's caring, your whole sense of self-worth and the value of your life is affirmed. Cancer can take an awful toll on how we look at ourselves. Sometimes we even come to ask, why am I so damaged and defective? But the one who cares, whether a physician, friend, or family member, has such a vital role in lifting our battered sense of self. They have that great power to give emotional assurance that your life is still important and that it means something. In preparing these thoughts, I realized how I've neglected to adequately thank doctors who've genuinely cared for me. So I felt it important to get on that, because doctors today live with incredible pressures. They're squeezed between insurance companies, lawyers, giant pharmaceutical firms, and at the same time they have to deal daily with emotionally stressed patients. So rarely do they get a thank you, and they need it as much as we all do. And it's a mercy that we can pass on ahead to other patients. For when we affirm the caring doctor in an extra way, he or she is going to be even more caring for the next patient. But I would suggest to you that the greatest and most healing mercy of all still remains the mercy of God. I've stopped on the way to Jericho outside an Orthodox monastery. They say it's been here for 1,500 years. And for 1,500 years, Orthodox Christians have used a simple prayer that's now being increasingly embraced in ever wider circles. It's to quietly, reverently, and thoughtfully repeat, Jesus Christ, Son of God, be merciful to me a sinner. It's so short, but profound. What incredible faith that presumes one can actually come and talk to God like this. Think of the amazing courage to come before Him and openly confess our sinfulness. And consider the enormous hope that clearly expects God looks with mercy on those who do so humbly come before Him. But the Beatitude points us beyond the mercy that we seek for ourselves to the mercy that we extend to others. For cancer patients, we become understandably preoccupied with our own struggles. It often seems that all our energy needs to be consumed on ourselves. But how important in the midst of our own hurt and uncertainty to just let our hearts reach out to others. And something mysterious happens when we're able to reach out in love and caring to other patients or to those in whatever distress or need. Beyond any benefit to them, to love and care for others somehow primes an inner pump. It charges up our own supply of life-giving energy. I've been so blessed and inspired by people I've met in the cancer world, people who know how to receive mercy but also how to show mercy. They've led me to believe that one of the most profound and helpful sources of healing are fellow patients. Lynn Thompson's husband died suddenly in an auto accident, leaving her with 4 young daughters. 2.5 years later, in 1983, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She went through a double mastectomy and 6 months of chemotherapy. But today, Lynn is coordinator of Journey of Hope for the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. She runs 2 websites for cancer patients, and she's trained hundreds of local churches in how to minister to cancer patients. Over 20 years ago, Greg Anderson was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and he was told he had 30 days to live. But Greg refused to accept the death sentence, and his life now reaches multitudes as founder and head of the Cancer Recovery Foundation, a multifaceted work that includes ministering to children with cancer. Lynn Ibe faced the demands of surgery and chemo for stage 3 colon cancer over 20 years ago. And out of her experience, she's written practical and outstanding books for cancer patients, in addition to her wonderful work as a patient advocate. Margaret Delancey was diagnosed with cancer over 8 years ago. She also lives with a serious heart condition. But a few years back, she formed a group in her local church that prays for and assists literally hundreds of cancer patients every month. Each one of these was wonderfully spared, and each one has touched thousands of lives. Now, maybe we won't touch thousands of lives, but we all come across our own Jericho road, our own special place and role where our mercy is needed. Indeed, how blessed are the merciful, they too inevitably receive mercy, even as they untiringly extend it.